Alright, I've spent like the past day or two kind of reorganising my studio slightly. Studio, bit of a rough term for it, it's more of just a room. But look, we got rid of the massive football table. Let's see if you can see this. Yeah, like all the space. So, we go down here, we switch this on, and that switches all of this on. And now we have this beautiful, amazing setup, ready to go. And all you need is me. What's happening YouTube? My name's Cameron and I want to wish you a massive welcome back to my channel. Before we go any further, I want to say a massive thank you to every single person that's hit that big red subscribe button. This week I hit a massive milestone. I managed to hit my 500th subscriber in just almost exactly 3 months since starting YouTube. So thank you so much to every single one of you. On that note, however, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button for me. That way you don't miss out on any of my future videos. So today I thought I'd go a little bit less formal than my usual videos. I thought I'd maybe kind of slow things down a little bit and answer some of your questions. It's been amazing over the past few weeks to get to know some of my kind of followers and my subscribers on YouTube. And as you might know, other than YouTube, one of the platforms I've kind of taken off on in the past few months has been TikTok. So in the early part of this week, I posted a video on TikTok, this one here, asking a bunch of my followers to ask me questions, ask me stuff about the things I do, the way that I do them, whether it's magic, performing, YouTube, creating, just whatever. And I thought I'd just take this opportunity to really simply answer a few of those questions. So here we go, we'll just start from the top. Help, I need a good name. That's hard to say quickly. Help, I need a good name, help, I need a good name, help, I need a good name. Nailed it. Help, I need a good name said, how and when did I first get into magic? This is a weird question for me because I've always loved magic. Since I was a really young kid, I remember doing magic to like my grandparents and my uncles and aunties and cousins when I was younger. I used to get all the magic sets as a kid, but I don't think I really took it seriously till I was about 17 or 18 years old. So when I was in my last year of high school. In that year, I had a lot of time to myself. In your last year of high school, in the UK anyway, you tend to have a lot of free time, a lot of free periods. And spending time in the common room with my classmates, being able to do the odd magic trick here and there was really cool. Maybe cool's the wrong word. It was really entertaining. So I learned a couple of pretty easy but really amazing tricks, and I used to do these to death. I then moved through to Glasgow to go to university, and when I was there I realised that I was pretty good at magic, and actually there was a bit of a market for this and that I could make a bit of money while I was at university instead of maybe getting a normal job to just earn some money on the side. But then to be honest, it wasn't even till a few years after that, till I was maybe in my early 20s, that I decided to get a bit more into stage performing, which is obviously a whole different thing. It takes a different level of confidence, it takes a different level of ability and a whole different set of skills. That being said, I don't think it matters. I really believe that you can get started on anything you want to at any age. Age is not a barrier these days. When you've got the internet, you can learn anything at any time, in any place, on almost any budget as well. So whether it's magic or something else and you want to get started in it, just get started now. Start somewhere. In fact, if you're interested in more information on that, I made a whole video on that too. I'll make sure to leave a link to that video in this video too. All right, we go again. Baby Puncher 882, aside from having a massively offensive username, asked, where is the money made as a magician? This is quite a complicated question actually, because there's so many different places you can make money as a magician. The one that most people start off with is parties and weddings, that kind of thing, doing what's called close-up magic, where you go around little groups and you entertain maybe between 5 and 10 people at one time, and you just make your way around the room like that. It works really well for weddings, it works really well for corporate events, things like that. After that, people tend to kind of take two options. They either stick with that or they go down more of the stage route, performing on stage in cabaret shows, in their own show at festivals and things like that. And that's very much the way that I've taken things. I do a lot more stage performing now than I do close-up stuff. I prefer the stage stuff. I know loads of people that prefer the close-up stuff as well. So really you just gotta find the thing that works for you. But to start off with, I'd suggest just doing gigs, doing events in any way that you can. In fact, this is probably a bigger topic for another video, and I will go into this in more detail in another video in the future at some point. But really, if you're wanting to know where the money is as a magician, it's wherever you can make it happen. You know, I'm a great believer in that the value of things is what someone's willing to pay for it. So if you can find someone that's willing to pay for whatever it is you're doing, then that's what it's worth. Simple as that. It hopefully answers your question in enough detail for now. Alright, good questions. I'm enjoying this, guys. I really appreciate it. Good questions, good questions. Shenanagon, strong username, asked, how do I prepare for shows? This is a cool question. This is a really cool question. I know for a fact that performers and a lot of my magician friends as well have kind of rituals that they go through before shows, whether it's in their car before a close-up gig or whether it's backstage before a stage show. They kind of have a set few things that they go through. And I guess I kind of do as well. I have a playlist on my phone of some like really upbeat music that kind of gets me a little bit pumped, gets the blood flowing a little bit. If I'm doing some sort of cabaret show as well, if the host starts to introduce me, they usually do a little bit of a spiel before they actually introduce my name and they introduce me on stage. And that's maybe like my 30-second cue. At that point backstage, I'll do some really simple like jump up and down in the spot, kind of like loosen myself off a little bit, some little quick breathing exercises. I guess the way I like to see it is that you have to imagine that every time you go out on stage or every time you go and do the performance that you're gonna do, whether it's on stage or whether it's going up to a specific group in your close-up gig, you have to almost feel like it's the first time you've ever performed. You have to make them feel, you have to feel it, you have to be excited about it, even if you've done that same routine, that same show a million times. You have to think in your head that it's the first time you've ever done it and it has to be special and amazing, and that can be quite difficult to keep up over time. So I think just having that in the back of your head and having these kind of little things that you do before a show can really help. Some good music and some sort of things to get you going, get the blood flowing and just remind you as well. Mr. Cool Dude 101, who by the way is one of my biggest fans. He's amazing, he comments on all my videos, he joins all my live streams, so thank you so much. Big shout out to you. Has asked, how do you think of your magic tricks? Do you get some of them off the internet or do you make some of your own? Now this is a pretty difficult one because for me it is a massive mix. When it comes to TikTok, because it's all short and sweet and visual, a lot of the stuff I do on TikTok I kind of get off the shelf and I put my own twist on it, absolutely. But when it comes to things like stage shows and close-up shows, I want to put my own personality and my own feel into it as much as I possibly can. So I do a lot less off the shelf stuff when it comes to my kind of paid events and gigs and shows and things like that. And I think this is a difficult thing for magicians in general, to find that balance between off the shelf and custom and your own twist, especially when you're starting out. So my advice, I know that a few people watching are starting out in performing or this kind of thing, but actually I think this advice goes for anything, businesses as well. It's definitely advice that you can apply to lots of areas of your life, and that is that it's okay when you're starting out to kind of just get something pre-packaged, off the shelf, ready to go. But as you start to develop, you have to start putting your own twist on things and your own personality into things. And I think that's really important, especially when it comes to performing when, let's face it, you kind of live or die on your personality. Magic's a weird one because you can absolutely, if you want to or if you need to, get by on just the trick. Like I've always had this massive admiration for stand-up comedians because they need to be funny. Their jokes have to be funny. If their jokes aren't funny, then the audience don't laugh and that's it. Whereas magicians, if your jokes aren't funny or your material isn't interesting, it doesn't really matter as long as the trick at the end is good. People still appreciate it. And I think that puts us in a really lucky position as magicians, but it also gives you a little bit more room to experiment. Because at the end of the day, people are there to see you. They're there to see your personality, not just to see some random magic tricks. Quick drink break. Oh man. I never realized before doing these videos how like difficult this is on your voice, talking for like 20 minutes straight. You would have thought that I kind of knew how to do that, being a professional speaker and everything. But again, totally different skills. All right, we'll do one more. Dan Pred says, does it make you happy to perform your tricks in public? And what's my favorite thing about performing? Another great question. The simple answer is yes, it makes me so happy to perform in public. I love giving people that just like little bit of fun, that little bit of excitement, that kind of feeling of wonder that is missing a lot, I think, from most of our lives on a kind of day-to-day basis. And magic's one of those kind of art forms that's designed to be performed, right? It's designed to be performed for other people as well. You can't really do magic for yourself, especially since you know how it works. But if you spend hours and hours and hours practicing some amazing magic trick, yes, you do get satisfaction yourself from it, but it's really not the same as you sharing it with someone else. It's meant to be shared, and that's what I love about it. And I guess that kind of answers both halves of that question, because that is my favorite thing about performing. It's actually getting to perform for people and see that look on their face and bring people together and just share a laugh with people. It's a little bit of a cliche and you hear it all the time, but magic is quite a universal language. language. Even if you don't speak someone else's language, if you can show them an amazing magic trick, you can still share an incredible moment with them where you know you're both thinking the same things, you know what they're feeling, and I love that about it as well. Alright troops, that about wraps it up for today. It's been really cool getting to know all of my followers on YouTube and on TikTok as well, so thank you so much for every single one of you. Thanks to everyone that asked a question. If you have any other questions, drop them in the comments down below. I'll reply to any and all questions that get put down there within reason. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you in the next one.